Respite, or a basic foster care license. Which should you get? Here are 7 differences to help you decide what kind of foster license you would like to have. My name is Jenna Veganetta. My family and I, we have been a foster family for over 16 years, doing a long-term foster care, emergency foster care, as well as respite. And I wanted to share this video to help you decide what kind of foster care license you would like to have and what might best meet the needs of your particular family. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe if videos on adoption or foster care or respite care interest you at all, as well as make sure to stay to the end for my final thoughts. The first difference between respite and regular foster care is the length of time that you have a particular child. As you know, respite is a short reprieve or amount of time to give a foster family a break, and regular basic foster care, it is often a long-term placement. It is a placement that you do not necessarily know how long you will have a particular child. And so when you sign up for basic foster care, there can be kind of really no limit to how long you may have that child. It may be a week, but it also may be a year. It may be multiple years. We've had kids 2.5 years, off and on for 5 years and 8 months. And so regular basic foster care is often a lot longer than what a short respite might be for another family. In 2014, my state, Washington State, passed a law called prudent parenting. And what that means is that a foster family can allocate someone else to watch their children for up to 72 hours. It is for regular, everyday kind of activities. So if maybe the school is gonna go on a weekend camping trip, that would mean that that child would be able to go. They wouldn't have to be in a licensed home. They could go with the school. If they wanna go overnight at grandparents' house, they can stay there and go overnight as long as it is a safe home. And so respite care tends to be, in my state anyway, over 72 hours, over 3 days, usually to a week or maybe a couple of weeks. Often it can even be a weekend, depending on each particular case and what the need is for that foster family. And so the first difference between respite care and basic foster care is the length of time that you would have a particular child. The second difference between respite care and basic foster care is this. It is the amount of stuff a child will often bring into your home. And so to start off basic foster care, in our experience, in our state, we are licensed directly with the state, which means there's no agency, there's no real buffer between us and the state, the system that brings us our foster kids. And in our experience, what we've noticed is a lot of the kids come with nothing. So they will come with a t-shirt on their back. They may come with a diaper bag, but it may be dirty and there may be wrong size clothes in it. They may come with just a blanket or a stuffed animal, but a lot of times kids that come in to basic foster care do not come with a lot. And so what that means is that we as foster parents often need to go out and purchase what we need for a particular child. So if you are licensed for 0 to 2, let's say, you will need car seats and bathing stuff and gates and plugins for your sockets. I mean, all the things that you can think of for a small baby. But even then, you may think you can just buy it ahead of time and be set, but what I found is a 2-year-old can be more like a 3.5-year-old in size. And so what we have found is that we often go on a spending spree. This isn't necessary or required. It's just kind of something our family does. We had a little baby a while ago and we ended up going to Target and spending $500 on this child, just because we want to make sure that the child has everything that they need. And so there is a big expense often initially and up front. There is reimbursement that can come from the state, that they will reimburse you clothes. And there are places that you can go and get or be on loan for like high chairs and car seats and things like that. So you don't need to go out and spend a lot of money, but often there is more expense when it's basic foster care. However, respite, what we have found with respite care is that kids are often already in a foster home. And so when they come to your home, usually the foster parents are really gracious. We've never met a foster parent that has brought a child to our home for respite with nothing. They always come with clothes. They come with enough pajamas. They come with their car seats if we need it. They ask if there's toys or maybe a certain seat or a swing that a child particularly loves. Usually that foster parent will stock you up with all that you need and often more. Another expense that is often donated by the foster family is diapers. It does help a lot to not have to go out and spend the amount that it costs for diapers or for wipes. And what we do as a foster family as well when we use respite is we also bring groceries. So we may bring a child's favorite cereal, or if they love bananas, or if they have formula or milk, especially if there's like a special kind of milk that our particular child loves or needs because of its health. And so what we have found is that respite care is always more affordable. And so that is one difference between basic foster care and respite, is the amount of stuff a child brings. The third difference between basic foster care and respite care is often, and not always, this is just really our opinion. There is no formula or guarantee or studies that are done on this. This is just our experience as foster parents who have done both. But the difference that we have seen are in the behaviors of children. With basic foster care, a lot of times we have gotten kids out of emergency situations. So they may have come from the hospital. They may have come from an abuse situation. They may have come from neglect. They may come from a trauma or being removed without their willingness or wanting to from another foster home. And so a lot of times what we have seen is that kids that come basically and initially into foster care often have more extreme behaviors. They haven't adapted, they don't understand maybe even foster care or what it's like, or they've been removed from a family that they have been bonded and connected to. And a lot of times that equals trauma. And so we will see trauma. And again, the initial weeks or days or months after a child comes into care through regular basic foster care, the behaviors often tend to be a little bit harder than kids that come to your home through respite. When kids come to your home through respite care, their behaviors tend to be more balanced or minimal because they are already established. They're established in foster care. They're established in a school or a daycare. They understand what the foster system is about. They have maybe been explained by their foster parents what is going to happen, how long their parents are going to be gone. They know that their parents are coming back, and they have a better understanding generally of what respite is. They don't have this blind being thrust into a system, not knowing what in the world is going on. And so what we often see, and again, this isn't always, there are exceptions, but kids that come into our home through respite often tend to be a little bit more well-behaved. The fourth difference that we have seen between basic foster care and respite is the involvement with the state. In regular basic foster care, you often have lots of contact with the state. You have contact with your licensors. You have a social worker often that brings a child that will come to your home once a month. If you are working with a private agency, you will also have a social worker from that private agency come to your home. You may have phone calls or visits or therapies. You will have more contact with the state because of these things. However, with respite care, oftentimes there is simply just a foster parent who will come to your home, drop the child will stay for a couple weeks. You may have contact with the social worker throughout that time. However, there's often not a social worker in your home or knocking on your door or an emergency visitation or demands from the bio parents. It is often a simpler process simply because it's shorter, the amount of time that you have that child, and because it is respite and not a long-term permanent foster home. The fifth difference between basic foster care and respite can be the quality of time that you actually spend with a child. And this is especially initially when a child first comes into your home. With basic foster care, it can be kind of a barrage of appointments when a child comes into your home. They may come in with cavities or rotten teeth. They may come in with lice, or they may come in with medical appointments or with bruises that require emergency treatment. They may come in with a visit with their biological parents within the first couple of days. There are often lots of things that need to be done when a child initially comes into your home. What that means is that the quality of time, especially the first week or two, can be diminished with that particular child. That child may be in a state of anxiety or nervousness or fear, or they may be anxious or crying. And so the quality of time through that trauma phase at the beginning, it can be difficult. It can be difficult to connect with the child and really build relationship and really bond at those initial stages when a child first comes into your home through basic foster care. With respite care, it's a totally different story. Kids are coming into your home with the purpose of getting to just have fun and to be with you and be with your family. And so what that means is the quality of time with a respite placement in your home, it can be built really about fun activities. It can be about games or playing in the backyard or going to the park. It can be built about connection and conversations and really connection with that child. And so often the quality of time can be much better when a child comes into your home through respite than with basic foster care. The sixth difference between basic foster care and respite is the time that you have to prepare for a child coming into your home, as well as the time you have to prepare for a child to leave your home. Through basic foster care, you may get a call like I did at 8 o'clock at night saying that we are bringing a child, they need a placement, and within an hour or 15 minutes even, a child can be on your doorstep. You may be in the salon like I was one time getting my hair done, and they called and said, we are on our way. And I had to race home, my hair still wet, to accept this child that was coming into my home. There was not a lot of time to prepare. There was not a lot of time to go shopping or getting what I need before that child came to my home. And in the same way, when a child leaves, there can be really not a lot of time to prepare your heart or your family or even the child. The state may call and say, we just had court and that child is now scheduled to go home. They need to be at the office by this time. Will you get them there? And that can happen so frequently. It can be hard. It can be kind of like on a roller coaster where you jolt to go around another turn and you feel kind of shooken because you don't know what to expect. You don't know when a child may come or when a child leaves, and that can have a big effect on you or your family. With respite, you often do kind of have a say or get to schedule when a child comes into your home and when a child leaves. You will know this beforehand, which will make it easy. You'll know when to go shopping. You will know when to prepare that child that they're getting ready to leave. You may be able to do the countdown so emotionally they can prepare and you can prepare. If you have other kids in the home, you may be able to discuss with them that a child is coming and prepare them when a child leaves as well. And that can be easier on you, on the child, and on your family. The seventh difference between basic foster care and respite care is this. It is the history. In basic foster care, you often get an idea of really who the child is, but you don't get a full picture of the child's history, of the child's birth family, of behaviors. Oftentimes it can kind of feel like a clean slate. You don't know. And the only way to determine that is time. And so with foster care, you get to learn who the child is. You get to learn what they have been through and what they've experienced. And so there is a difference On the other hand, with respite care, you have a foster family who knows this child. They understand what their preferences are, right? They know if they have allergies. They know if, they love spaghetti, but they don't love pizza. Or, if at nighttime when it starts to get dark, if they're going to cry and be afraid, or if they like to sleep with the light on or the light off and the door closed. All these little things in foster care, they matter. They tend to make up a big difference when it comes to caring for these kids, because often it's not this big picture, right? This overall arching idea of who a child is. It's the little things that makes each child unique and special and loved. And so when you do respite, you do get a bigger picture often of who that child is. You get an understanding of what they've been through, or what visits may look like, or their relationship with their birth families. And that can be helpful in parenting a child in respite versus parenting a child who is in basic foster care. And these are my final thoughts. To say that respite is better than basic foster care, or foster care generally is better than respite care, is really an exaggeration. We can't pick sides. It really just depends on you, on your family, what it is you love, and your interests. Sometimes it's fun not knowing who a child is and getting to discover and learn and grow along with that child. Sometimes it's better to be able to have a plan of when a child is coming versus when a child is going. And other times, it is really just up to you on whether you like slow and consistent, or whether you like the quick weekend visits of a respite placement in your home. Respite care, it can feel shorter and quicker, and maybe even a little bit cheaper than basic foster care. But on the other hand, basic foster care, it can feel more like a child is being integrated into your home, into your family, and they really become one with who you are as a whole. And that can make doing long-term foster care easier in a way than short-term respite. As you listen to this video, take some time afterwards to really think, what sounds more appealing to you? Respite, short-term respite, where you have predictability and you know who that child's going to be and how long they're going to stay, or basic foster care, where you have a child that is desperately in need and they come into your home and you adapt around that child and they become part of your family. Thank you so much for watching, and all the best on your foster care journey. If you have any questions or comments that you would like to share below, I would love to hear those and I will try to respond. And remember, go out, live bold, be brave, and we will see you next time.